Years ago, during my first marriage, um, my first husband had an adulterous issue. He was hooked on pornography, and it segued into prostitution, where that was the only thing that satisfied him. And one of the things that I noticed was a lot of times we think we're going through something that is agonizingly painful. And we don't realize just how God is waiting there with bated breath for us to go to Him so that He could take all that off of our chest. That's why His word says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Well, listen, I was married for about 3 years. During the 3 years, that's how Psalms 91 came into play. During those 3 years, I ate myself into oblivion. And the reason was because from night to night, I didn't know if my ex-husband was going to have another encounter or another rendezvous with a prostitute or not. And it was eating me up inside. So the only way I could subdue my nerves was to pack it in, baby. And I was packing in the chips and packing in the whatever it was. I was packing. I was even packing when my mouth was already full. Well, one night, this is crazy. One night, I had a mouthful of chips, and my hand had chips in it from the bag, and I was getting ready to add to my abundance. And the Holy Spirit literally spotlighted my hand. And it's like my hand was coming to me in slow motion. And it was all bright and lit up. It was highlighted. And the Lord made my hand get my attention, so to speak. And I'm looking at my hand, and it hit me. And that night, I laid down in the bed on my back, and I begged God to please have mercy on me. I didn't realize I was compulsively eating. God showed me that it was compulsive eating. I didn't know it. And He showed me why. That's what I love about God. He's such a healing God. Well, one night after that, after I repented and asked the Lord, this is what happened that night. That's how that Psalms 91 came into play. I had repented, asked the Lord to forgive me, went down through all the years when I was unsaved, doing damage to my body in all kind of ways. None of your business. And I was sitting there asking God. I'll tell you one day some of the things. But I was sitting there and I asked God, I said, "Lord, please don't let me pay the price for all the damage and the sins I've committed against your temple, my body." And that's when I kept seeing Psalms 91, Psalms 91. Well, fast forward a little bit. This was about maybe a couple of weeks later. It was a beautiful night. I went outside, looked up at the stars. My ex-husband hadn't come home yet. And I said, "This is a perfect time to deal with this." And I said, "Lord, I have been carrying this burden too long, and it is way too heavy for me. So I'm going to do what your word says. And I'm going to come unto you so you can give me rest. And I'm going to take all my burden and give it to you because you're strong enough to carry it. I am not." And I looked up and I said, "Lord," I'm going to gesture so you can see what I did. Maybe some things weighing you down that you can do the same type of prayer and you'd be amazed at the results. I looked up and I said, "Lord, here is my jealousy as a wife. Take that." See how I'm gesturing my hand? "Here is my compulsive eating. Take that. Here is my anxiety. Take that, Father." Here are my fears. Take that. Here's my husband. Take that. That was my ex-husband. Here is his adultery. Take that. All of this is too heavy for me, Lord. I can't carry it anymore. You know how we look up when we talk. Anyway, so I asked him to take all the heaviness out of my heart, remove all the hurt, all the emotional feelings of betrayal, and feeling like I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, whatever the case was. Because anytime a wife or a spouse or husband deals with an adulterous partner, it does make them doubt themselves when it's repeated for so long. You just can't help it. So anyway, I went to God with all of that. And do you know what? From that night on, he could come home all wee hours of the night, guilt written all over his face. And I'd look at him and I said, wow, I cannot believe it. I'm not internalizing this anymore. I'm not bothered by it. I'm not hurt by it. I'm not worried about it. I couldn't, it was such an emotional miracle. So much healing that God did inside of me. Excuse me. So much healing. You know, only God can do that. No psychiatrist, no pill, no program, and no outside boyfriend or girlfriend can handle that. Only God can totally remove you from a situation without you disengaging. You can still be all connected and paying the bills and living under the same roof and so associating with the same person and not be angry at them, not be hurt by them, not be afraid, not be worried about it. Only God can do that. The compulsive eating came to a total stop, total standstill. Only God can do that. I mean, he totally lifted that burden off of me. Now, this is funny. I want to tell you just how thorough God's work is. One day I was riding up to the house, and by this time, the ex-husband had graduated from prostitutes to a full-blown affair, and he had a girlfriend. The girlfriend was in front of the house in her car. He was on his knees, leaning in the window, talking to her. And my friend Eleanor and I pulled up so I could go in the house and get my shoes. I went to go in the house to get my shoes, and I came back, and I just waved and got back in the car so we could go get something to eat. And my friend was, oh, she was ticked. She was ready to run that boy over. And I said, don't even worry about it. Oh, I'm not even bothered. And we had a wonderful day. Go figure. That's how thorough God is. Isn't that a blessing?